gonna go to Key to talk to Key about what I'm planning with Key. Let's see how this goes. There is a conversation that I'm having with the Claude coding agent in Key codebase before we decide direction of where Key, what we are currently talking in, communicating through, conversing in, will go. Based on everything I've captured, let's dive into these questions and get to the heart of Key. What makes it tick? Who is it for? What are we building? It's a long prompt. This is the right moment to slow down and get this right. Let me work through these questions with you directly, grounded in everything you've captured. What do we call the entity? Project is functional but flat. Looking at how you actually use the space, build Key is not just a project, it's a living question you're inside of. You're not managing it toward a deadline, you're inhabiting it. The ride is closed, but the Feynman framing points at something even more specific. These are things you're carrying, active questions that act as filters on everything you experience. My instinct from your captures, the entity is a pursuit. Whoa. I like that. It's directional without being deadline bound. It can be something you're building, something you're becoming, something you're figuring out. Build Key as a pursuit. Understand what brings me joy as a pursuit. Get to the bottom of why I keep holding back as a pursuit. It holds all 4 shapes from the table above. But don't take my word for it. What word feels right when you imagine opening the app and seeing your active ones listed? Projects. Design. Web. Components. Sidebar. Projects. Pursuits. I don't hate that one bit. I don't hate it. It's pretty lovely, actually. Oh, man. My pursuits. Build Key. Building. What are your pursuits? Build Key and share Key. I like it. I like it a lot. What are your pursuits? The pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of joy. The pursuit of aliveness. The pursuit of curiosity. The pursuit of Key. The pursuit of oh, you are so cute. Little red bird. What does Key do for a person? One sentence. From your captures, essentially the story of Key and ramblings on Key. Key turns the noise of your inner life into the raw material of your becoming. Yeah, or more plainly, Key helps you think clearly enough to become who you're trying to be. Helps you think clearly enough to become who you're trying to be. Key helps you think clearly enough to become who you're trying to be. Ooh, because think about it. 3 years ago, God, I was freaking lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know anything about who I was. I had a lot of habits mental habits that were keeping me stuck in my ways. I was scrolling on social media, feeling bad about myself, had a terrible relationship with my body. I was unable to control myself with food. I was pretty lost. Didn't really have a sense of what I wanted to do, didn't have a purpose, didn't have a passion. Down. I was down for the count, and I wanted to find that direction, and so I started to change things intentionally. Started thinking about how I was feeling. I started journaling, and I started not going on my phone for the first hour in the morning. Dopamine reset, all these little things, and they started to compound. I started running, started listening to Andrew Huberman podcasts, and I also was doing this simultaneously to a research internship on machine learning, so understanding what was going on inside of this black box that was AI and breaking it down into the algorithms, the math behind it. And a lot of it was still unknown to me, but it did break things down into there is something running behind the scenes. This feels like magic, and it's only going to get better, but I would be a fool not to. Immediately my curiosity was piqued, and I just wanted to understand more about how to use this and how to build and what I could build with AI. And so with that, it was this continuous pursuit of self. Whoa, it is pursuit. That's pretty cool. I was in this continuous pursuit of self, and I guess that's like the whole entity. Like, this is a tool to pursue the self, understand yourself, your consciousness, to explore your mind, your curiosities. But essentially, I was learning about myself and doing all these things, whether it was getting deeper into my relationship with movement and whether it was strength training, running, just different mediums and modes of moving my body, because as I dove more into my mind and understanding myself, I also realized my mind is so connected with my body. And then I started understanding more about my menstrual cycle and how that's all connected, and how I'm feeling certain ways at the beginning of my cycle that are so different in the middle, then it's different at the end. And those are affecting. Those are affecting how I'm showing up on the daily, how I'm attacking my goals. It's making me either super motivated and go at things, or I'm gonna throw everything out the window and go eat an entire sleeve of something that's gonna make me feel so terrible about myself later. So it was really the kind of me diving deeper and understanding myself and becoming more and more aware of myself and who I was, what my purpose was, what I wanted to do, what brought me joy, and at the same time, what that was related to was learning more about AI building, learning about technology, what I was curious about. That cat is staring at me. What's up? Diving deeper and deeper. And it was these interlocked pursuits of technology and myself. And the two are very intertwined, because I think what I started to notice is that in the same way you are talking to these LLMs, these AI, whatever you want to say, there's just a lot of connections in terms of building with it and building yourself, if that makes sense. Because, and that's where the building as intentional creation is so important, because that's how I think of using these tools, is it enables you to create things so freely. And I just want to use this time to be able to build tools that help us to explore what is most important to us. So that's why I'm building Key. That felt nice. This is fun. I like this little green dot. That's what I see when I'm talking to myself out loud, but I'm talking to this figurative entity that is just streaming something out into the void. I have no idea. There could be someone out there. Someone could watch this later. What's up? I'm so glad you're here. Seriously, you have no idea how glad I am that you are here. And I'm actually really happy I'm doing this because it is like a load off of my chest, I've been feeling, I was in the car today with my mom, and she was dropping me off, and I was telling her, I was opening up to her about how I feel very lonely in this pursuit at times, and what I meant, or not even lonely anymore. I used to a lot, but not so much anymore. I think I just feel very misperceived, as in I'm not taking control of the narrative that I want to be having. There's so much I want to say, there's so much I want to share, there's so much that I'm thinking about that I want to be thinking about with other people, and I'm just sitting here figuring it out all by myself, or not motivated to do it myself and patching myself along. And so I am finally at this point where I'm fed up with my bullshit, and so I'm just gonna start speaking out loud and capturing this build process until it gets to the point where I can clearly, easily, distinctly, just where I can articulate myself in a concise manner that people can understand. And I can show my thinking, and I can show what I've built, and it is something that people can wrap their heads around because it's actually tangible and it makes sense. And right now, I'm still in this figuring out zone, and that's okay. But I need to be documenting it as we're going, because then once I get to this point, that always ends up being more points after it of like, you need to figure this out too. I don't want to go back and re-explain everything and all this thinking process. Like, that's what's getting me there. Whew. Anyways, this is pretty cool. Isn't this fun? I'd say so. But then we'll be able to look back at all our little videos that we're creating. Honestly. And there it is. It's all there. That's pretty cool. Like, can I go in here? We'll be able to look back at all our little videos that we're creating. Alright, anyways. Sorry. Tangent. Okay. Anyways. Key helps you think clearly enough to become who you're trying to be. The layers upon layers capture, and I wish that we could see the captures pulled up. Like, this is talking about the layers upon layers, and in that I can't even open it because I haven't built any of that out because I'm fucking just taking my sweet ass time, or I just didn't have full clarity, and now we're getting there. But like highlighting certain parts and being like, this is where this was brought up. Capture gets closest to the real mechanism. You're not just organizing thoughts, you're training your ability to see yourself and act from that seeing. Do we like that? Maybe. Who is this for exactly? Not builders and creators as a professional category. The real answer is in Ramblings on Key. It's for anyone who's intentionally creating something in their life, internal or external, a mindset, a business, a body, a relationship, a body of work. A specific person, a system, someone who knows they're in a growth period, feels the weight of their own thinking, has tried journaling or Notion or voice memos and found them lacking because those tools store but don't think back. They're drowning in their own depth. They need something that meets them there. I've been trying to have people or meet people where they are and find all these, or just like be able to cater to everyone. And that's not what this is. And the same me 3 years ago that felt stuck and knew that something needed to change and started to just dive in and change those things, explore, change my habits, all that jazz. I did feel like I was drowning at times, all the time, still sometimes do, still do. Basically what I'm saying is that me then, me now, same problem, same pain point, same inability to articulate the pain point clearly, because that is what it is. There's so many thoughts and so many different things I'm thinking about at times, and I tend to just get very blurry and it just helps to be able to read your thoughts back with clarity, to distill things in certain ways, to be able to know and look back at your thoughts and that you've caught those thoughts intentionally based on a certain pursuit. I like pursuit. I really like it. I really like it. What does the home feel like when Key is working? From Kairos and Finding Flow, it feels like arriving at your oasis. You open it and immediately feel oriented. You know what you're carrying, you know what's alive, you see yourself reflected back clearly. It doesn't demand anything from you, it just holds everything so your mind doesn't have to. The opposite of overwhelm, the feeling of, I know where I am. These 4 answers together feel like the bones of the mission. Want to build it from here. I kind of do. Holy shit. Yeah, I do want to build from here because you have nailed this on the head, and I am in awe. What? Are there any pieces you are missing that I can clarify so that we have a complete picture before distilling? And we're going to call this one I don't know, bro. Distilling the entities that capture your thoughts and have landed on pursuits. Distilled entity that you capture your thoughts and have landed on pursuits. Now creating the MISSION.md to have a North Star the coding cadence when building. Shabang. Okay. Honestly, the picture is remarkably complete. You've captured it enough that the core is clear, but there are a few places where I'm working from inference rather than something you've explicitly said, and it's worth checking those before we write anything definitive. The ones I'm certain about, the daily return question was to bring someone back to Key tomorrow. You described the capture loop and the thinking environment, but the habit, the moment that makes Key feel necessary on a Tuesday when nothing I know a clear answer that the first 5 minutes. I'm going to answer from the bottom up. For starters, Feynman framing is more of inspiration in terms of using questions as guiding lights. I think this is more so a core question field that is captured along inside a pursuit. What do you think? The progress that one feels, it is internal. For the user knows is the only one that can feel this clarity, that can feel this alignment. We do not have to jump so ahead to the onboarding. This is something that may start off as a one individual conversation with me, Rachel the Builder, before Ray. Come on now. Starting off as an individual conversation with me before, because we, when first launched, will be in early access and will ensure that first users are a right fit through a video call, that this is what they are looking for, etc. And the hope is that curiosity would bring the user back to Key, but it is not something that they necessarily need to return to every day. Key is there when they need it, and them using it every day would be more so. And when, if built right, them using it every day would be a positive reflection on both the tool as well as that the user is in alignment in their lives as they're finding things, they're capturing things around them that aren't, as they, one can infer that they are inspired. Key is using, when one uses Key, I'm going to describe this as, I'm going to coin this as building Key, and it is a creative act. Woo! Fingers on fuego. Let me reflect. This is coming together beautifully. Always hypes you up. The pursuit had a core question at its center. Has a core question at its center. Not a goal, not a deliverable. A question that acts as the guiding light. Damn. The pursuit is what you're doing. The question is why it matters and what you're trying to understand through it. These two fields together define what you're carrying. Progress is felt, not measured. Key doesn't show you a streak or a score. The signal what is working, that is working, is internal. Clarity where there is fog. Alignment where there was friction. You can't gamify this and you shouldn't try. You might be able to, and we can try. The tool trusts the user to know when it's working. Key is there when you need it. Not a daily obligation, not a habit loop engineered through notifications. It's an oasis you return to when you're inspired, when you're stuck, when something landed, and when you need to work with it. The frequency of return is itself a signal. If someone is coming back every day, that's a reflection of how alive they are right now. And for instance, me, how often am I coming back and am I spending time building in this? So we will see with these recordings, which I think are going to be super fun to look back at. Using Key is a creative act. Building Key, I love that, and you're coining that. It reframes the entire interaction. You're not logging, you're not organizing, you're not managing, you're building. Every session is an act of creation. Bars. Literally bars. One thing I want to sit with before we write, you said curiosity brings someone back. That feels exactly right, but what is Key doing between visits that makes the return feel meaningful? Is it just holding what you've captured, or is there something that accumulates, deepens, that makes coming back feel like arriving somewhere further? Oh, baby. I like where you are going. And I think we can get creative with this. There can be some sort of asynchronous agent running in the background, or perhaps something a user can trigger, something where they can create an agent and it explores a certain topic X and returns a artifact. Now I'm getting kind of a and it executes, but what I am describing feels very vague, and I do not have a clear vision of it. Open to hearing your thoughts. I definitely see there being an opportunity to return to Key with something that was not there before. Perhaps. We shall see. I don't know. I think so. This is a genuinely exciting design space. Let me think out loud with you on it. The feeling you're describing is you leave Key, you live your life, you come back, and Key has done something while you're gone. You not just held your thoughts, but worked with them. Ooh, you return to find something waiting for you that wasn't there before. A few directions this could go. A slow burn. I love a slow burn. Key quietly works across your corpus over time, not triggered by you just running in the background. When enough captures have accumulated around a pursuit, or when something new you captured creates an unexpected connection to something older, Key surfaces it. You open the app and there's a quiet notification, not a ping, something more like a letter waiting on your disk. Something connected while you were away. Oh! Whoa! The triggered deep dive. You finish a session, you've captured a lot, and you deliberately say, work with this. You set Key loose on a specific pursuit or a specific question, and it goes deep, synthesizes across everything you've captured, finds tension, surfaces what's unresolved, maybe generates an artifact. You come back to a piece of thinking that's further along than where you left it. The morning brief, less about background processing and more about when you do return. Key orients you immediately. Here's what your pursuits where your pursuits stand. Here's what's been accumulated. Here's a connection you notice. It meets you at your door rather than making you dig. The open question that I keep coming back to is, what is Key actually doing with your captures when you're there? Pattern matching across time, deepening a synthesis, waiting for critical mass before it speaks. What feels closest to the experience? The slow burn especially spoke to me. I think that it could be any above or some not mentioned. Are we there yet where we need to have this scoped out? Or could this be a post-MVP discussion? As I think we are still hammering, as I feel We're still hammering down the pursuit schema and how this is going to flow. What if we mentioned it as a living corpus with notes on what we have discussed, but not so much finite, as this will be a discussion, a layer on top of what we must first build to even have this conversation. I like that. You're right, that's post. Before any background agent can do anything meaningful, there needs to be a corpus worth working with. Before the corpus exists, there needs to be a pursuit schema and a capture flow that actually works. We're not there yet. We have the capture, we need the pursuit to work or be more scoped out. What we have right now is enough to name it and move on. Something like he maintains a living corpus, your captures, your pursuits, your thinking over time. What becomes possible as that corpus deepens is still being discovered. That's honest, it points at the direction without over specifying something we haven't built yet. So here's where I think we actually are. The things we've nailed down is what key is: a thinking tool, not a notes app, not a journal. The philosophical spine, building yourself in a building and building systems are the same act. It's going to be your capital S self. An entity, a pursuit with a core question at its center. The flow, capture anywhere, think deeply on the web, key thinks back. Who's it for? Anyone intentionally creating something in their life. The creative act using key is building key. The feeling in a way is your turn to when inspired or stuck, not a daily obligation. The one thing left before MISSION.md. What do we call the act of pursuit deepening over time? You coined. Active. No need to put you in a box. Key is a thinking tool, a system for thinking out loud and then thinking deeper. Ooh! Yo. Key is a thinking tool. And it's a thinking tool. See the layers there? It's a tool for thinking, but it's also a tool that thinks. Woo! Okay, you're done. Time yourself out. A system for thinking aloud and then thinking deeper. This entity is a pursuit, something you're carrying with a core question at its center. Capture lives on both web and mobile, mobile for convenience, web for depth. The philosophical core, building yourself and building systems are the same act, built for anyone intentionally creating something in their life, internal or external. Progress is internal, felt, not measured. Clarity, alignment. Key is an oasis, not an obligation. You return when you're inspired or stuck. The living corpus, what becomes possible as it deepens, is still being discovered. Built by Ray, for the person Ray was 3 years ago and today. Built by, one question before I write it is, mission for the builder, meaning you and any collaborators in the codebase, or is it also something early readers might read? That distinction. MISSION.md is for the builder. The builder became me, as well as the code base agents, cursor and Claudie. That will be building this out, though may also be something it will will also likely be something that is shared with others, but that should not change the way we write it. Either way, it should be clear, concise, and effectively articulate what mission and vision key is. Let's read it over. Key is a thinking tool, a system for thinking out loud and then thinking deeper. It is not a note-taking app, it is not a journal, it is not a second brain or a productivity system. It is the space where your raw, unfinished thinking becomes something you can actually work with, where captures accumulate into clarity and clarity becomes action. The name comes from the concept of life force. The energy within all of us is what makes us feel most alive. This is really good. This is really good. I'm going to start from the top. Holy shit. Okay, I'm a little bit shook. Whoa. Okay. Key is a thinking tool, a system for thinking out loud and then thinking deeper. It is not a note-taking app, it is not a journal, it is not a second brain or a productivity system. It is the space where your raw, unfinished thinking becomes something you can actually work with, where captures accumulate into clarity and clarity becomes action. The name comes from the concept of life force, chi, the energy within all of us that makes us feel most alive. Energy within all of us that makes us feel most alive. I love that. Key is built around the belief that when you are living in alignment with what drives you, inspiration is everywhere. A conversation, a billboard, a quote, a moment of stillness, all of it is revealing something about what you're already working through. Key is the system that catches it, holds it, and helps you think with it over time. The philosophical core. Building yourself and building systems are the same act. Same abstraction, same logic, same principle. Garbage in, garbage out. What you feed your mind shapes who you become. What you feed a system shapes what it produces. Key is built on this parallel, not as a metaphor, but as a methodology. Ooh! Because it's like garbage in, garbage out, thoughts. So that's... This is great. Is great. A couple of notes that I want to make for the philosophical core. Can we get a bit deeper by what the garbage in, garbage out philosophy means for key? Specifically, it is implied that thoughts are what is being inputted, so quality thoughts, or intentionally, this is a tool for intent, so, and key is an intentional, is a tool intentionally capturing thoughts. It's like Rumpelstiltskin spinning the hay. One's thoughts. What key is built around? That pursuit. The central entity in key is a pursuit. A pursuit is not a project with a deadline. It is not a goal with a finish line. It is something you are carrying, a question you are living, a thing you are building, a direction you are moving. At its center is a core question, the guiding light that gives the pursuit its meaning and makes new information relevant or not. So you capture something, you don't even have to tag it or anything. It puts it in a specific bucket, or it doesn't put anything in it. And the living part is maybe you have a certain set number of questions or pursuits that you can have. And if you were to add a new pursuit, change your pursuit, archive a pursuit, and start a new pursuit, in doing so, all of the previous captures would be tested against this pursuit. Also just had some clarity in terms of what the living key will work as, in terms of how the living key will work. In terms of the pursuits, there will likely be a decided finite number that one can pursue. I'm thinking 3 is the number. This is what it is currently. If a pursuit is added, say through 1 being archived, removed, or they had less than 3, then all of the current captures in their key would be tested against this pursuit and questioned to see if it can be grouped into the new pursuit. I like it. I like it a lot. Pursuits are how you make sense of what you are capturing. They are active antennas. When something lands, a thought, an observation, an idea caught mid-stride, it lands somewhere. The pursuit is where it belongs. A pursuit deepens over time. It does not close. It evolves as you do. The flow. Capture anywhere. Think deeply on the web. And it's going to reflect back on the mobile. It's just, I need that complete loop. And it's going to be, anyways, capture is available on both mobile and web. Mobile exists for convenience. Inspiration does not wait, and life happens away from a screen. The web is the primary thinking environment, the oasis where you return to do the deeper work of distilling, connecting, and arriving at clarity. The flow, you carry live pursuits, questions, and intentions that are alive for you right now. You move through the world. Something resonates. You capture it. Voice, text, image, observation. Key holds it, enriches it, connects it to what you are already carrying. Over time, the corpus of each pursuit deepens. Key surfaces what is emerging, patterns, tensions, clarity. You act, create, decide, become. A new capture follows. The cycle continues. Who this is for. Key is for anyone intentionally creating something in their life. That includes what you are building externally, software, businesses, physical things, creative work. It also includes what you build internally, mindsets, habits, and identity, understanding. What is going on? It's so good. So good. And it's all from my thoughts, but it's also from, oh my gosh. Oh, it's so good. Yo. This is pretty cool. This is pretty freaking cool. Fuck, dude. Okay, key is for anyone intentionally creating something in their life. That includes what you are building externally, software, businesses, physical things, creative work. It also includes what you build internally, mindsets, habits, identity, understanding. The builder and the person becoming are the same person. Yeah, they're one and the same. Yes. The specific human key is built for someone who knows they are in a growth period, who feels the weight of their own thinking. Literally, sometimes I'm just, so much is going on. Who has tried journaling, note-taking apps, second brain tools, and found them lacking? I tried to build my own second brain. I'm trying to do that, or I thought I was doing that, but is that second brain. I don't want a second brain. I have this already amazing brain here. I don't need a second brain. I need to understand my current brain. I don't need a second brain. I don't need a second brain. I'm writing that down. That's gold. I don't need a second brain. I need a way to understand my first brain. Come on, that's like friggin', like, I don't need a second brain. Or what my second brain is a way to understand my first brain. I don't think I like the term second brain, but I've been using that term. Or maybe I do like it. I don't know. Just stop coining other people's coins. Don't take their coins. Make a new coin. Make key. Make whatever. Make whatever's inspiring to you. Now I'm talking to you, Green Dot. And I'm talking to you, Green Dot. And found them lacking because these tools store, but they do not think back. Who is drowning in their own depth and needs something that meets them there? What key is not? It does not replace thinking. It extends it. Cha-ching. It does not demand really daily use. It rewards return. Ooh. It does not measure progress. Progress here is internal. Felt is clarity and alignment, known only by the person living it. It's felt. It's felt. Key is not an obligation. It is an oasis or sanctuary. The living corpus. As pursuits accumulate captures, something begins to happen. Patterns emerge, connections surface across time. What it felt scattered starts to cohere. The corpus becomes something you can think with, not just a record of what you have been, but a resource for where you were going. That's so yummy. Not just a record where you have been, but a resource for where you are going. What becomes possible as the corpus deepens is still being discovered. That is part of what we are building toward. And this is only one of the many possible ways that key can evolve with your corpus. As it deepens, more will continue to be unlocked as we build and are able to use it. Yes! Why this exists. Key is built by Ray for the person Ray was 3 years ago. Lost, searching, full of thoughts with nowhere to go. Built by Rachel. Built by Ray for the person. Lost, searching, full of thoughts with nowhere to go and no tool that thought back. That person is the product vision. Everything else follows from that. Key is bigger than software. It is a methodology, a way of life, and eventually a physical space where people move, think, and build together. Yes! Oh my god, I'm literally having like a moment out here. Key is bigger than software. It is a methodology, a way of life, and eventually a physical space where people move, think, and build together. The digital tool is the entry point. What it grows into is still becoming clear. The same way a pursuit does. The digital tool is the entry point. Yes. What it grows into is still becoming clear the same way a pursuit does. That's so beautiful. For anyone building this, if you're working in the code base, read this document as the North Star. Every design decision, every architectural choice, every feature consideration should be tested against this. Does it serve the person who is intentionally creating something in their life? Does it serve the person who is intentionally creating something in their life? Does it make the thinking environment deeper, clearer, more alive? Does it honor the pursuit as the central entity? If we're not using key to build key, we have not built key yet. Oh my god. And I'm using key to build key right now because I'm building the core document that is going to be referenced by the coding agents and myself that are going to use this as context for what we are building. Oh my god, this is so freaking good. I'm gonna copy you. I'm gonna send this in, make sure that the changes are made without losing this. But I'm pretty sure it should make the edits. Chills. Oh my gosh, I have to go feed the cats. Let me just wait for this and save it. Oh my freaking goodness. It should make changes where it adds. Both of these are sharp additions. The image is exactly right. The thoughts are raw material, often tangled and unrefined. Each key is a will that spins them into something valuable that reframes what garbage in, garbage out means. Here, it's not a warning, it's an invitation to be intentional about what you feed the system, because the quality of your capture shapes the quality of what emerges. The three-purpose limit is interesting. We're sitting with for a second before I rewrite. The logic is clear. Constraints create focus in a finite set of live pursuits. 3 is a deliberate number, enough to hold complexity of a life in motion, not so many that nothing gets real attention. The retroactive testing of existing captures against a new pursuit is where it gets genuinely exciting. That's the living corpus in action. The corpus doesn't just grow together forward, it reorganizes around new meaning. You add a pursuit, and key looks back across everything you've captured and asks, does this belong here? That's not a notes app, that's something closer to a thinking partner with memory. Let me update the relevant sections. That catches it, holds. Ooh, 100 lines. I like that. Cool. All right. Good work. Good